Hey guys, my name is Raheem and welcome to my 2021 gaming PC build video. In this video, you're going to see me step-by-step build my first ever gaming PC for 1,700 Canadian dollars, including a Ryzen 5 5600X and the GeForce RTX 3060Ti. And also in this video, I added in a few things like timestamps to different parts of the PC building process, as well as a parts list down in the description below. Go check it out. That's a full list of all the parts used in this video. And as you know, we're in a pandemic and the prices do fluctuate a lot. And also, I live in Canada, so like the prices of the components that I bought are in Canadian dollars. But on the PC Part Picker site, you can change to whatever region you're in, and then it'll change the prices to the prices in your region. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. And like I said, this is my first build, so do not take this video as like a tutorial. This is just me building a computer, but the video is pretty sick, and the end results do not disappoint. So make sure to watch on and see. So yeah, let's get into it. Transition, slide somewhere here. So now we're ready to build. First, we're going to start with the motherboard. We have the Prime B550MA Wi-Fi. So this does use a B550 chipset, which does work with our 5000 series processor. However, you do need a BIOS update, which the kind folks over at Canon Computers did do for us. Not sponsored. But so basically you just need an older chip to update the motherboard itself, and then you can throw in this and then it'll work. Now this here is the Wi-Fi antenna that screws into the two Wi-Fi antenna pins at the back of the case where the I/O shield is. And here we have the B550MA motherboard itself. Inside you'll find things like the motherboard's manual. And also we have a disc that has the drivers for the motherboard on it, but however in most cases you do not have a disc drive, so you just download them off from the manufacturer's website. We have some, I think these are SATA data cables for hard drives. We do not have a hard drive included in this build, at least not yet. So put that aside. And you see these tiny little screws. We will be using this later to mount our NVMe drive on our motherboard. The last thing in the motherboard box is the I/O shield. This is going to be attached to the back of the case. So as a CPU in this build, we are using the Ryzen 5 5600X. It is a 6-core 1230 CPU clocked at 3.7 GHz, boostable up to 4.6 GHz, and it also comes included with a RAID Stealth cooler, which we will be using in this build. There she goes. Hold it from the sides. That little golden triangle on the processor is here on the bottom left. Look for the corresponding one on the board itself. Is right there on my top left, and then you just want to place it into the motherboard like that. You just want to push this little lever down and tuck it back under, and then that's it. There's our CPU installed. What I'm gonna do next is install the RAM. So for our RAM in this build, we went with 16 gigabytes of dual channel Vengeance RGB Pro from Corsair. This is clocked at 3600 megahertz and is made specifically for AMD Ryzen processors. So here we have our two sticks, and we're gonna open the slot. We're gonna pull back the clips right here. Just automatically clicks like that.
Go. Done.
That's one piece.
Okay.
And then the second piece, we're gonna put in the second slot. We're gonna open it up. Apply pressure and push it until it clicks. So right now we're gonna install the cooler. So we're just removing the bracket so we can drop the cooler in on top and line up with the screw holes. And this is the RAID Stealth cooler. It's pretty beefy. We're gonna be using this in our build. It does come with thermal paste pre-applied, but for the sake of me wanting to experience the thermal paste application process, I'm gonna use my own Arctic thermal paste. So we're just going to use rubbing alcohol right now to wipe this one off. Okay, so we have our cooler ready. And put that aside, because now we're going to apply our thermal paste. And we are just going to put a pea-sized amount, the size of a rice grain. We just want to make a rice-sized amount kind of thing, like that. That is enough.
Is it?
Yep. And then next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put on the cooler. So right now I'm just lining up the cooler carefully with all 4 screw holes. Once it was lined up correctly, my dad and I then started screwing it in using the cross pattern so that thermal paste at the bottom does get applied evenly to all sides. Seems good. We got our big cooler on. Now we're just gonna plug it in. Since when you plug in like this, there's this big cord. So what I like to do, what I saw other people do, is they create a little loop. My loop's not that great. And then they just put it in, as you can see right here. This one is what we need to use for the air cooler. It's labeled CPU fan. It has a notch on it, so it only goes in one way. And there's our cooler installed. So next up what we're going to do is install our NVMe SSD. This is the Sabrent RocketQ 1TB NVMe SSD. This wasn't as expensive as other 1TB NVMe's, and it's also pretty fast. So there are different holes to mount your NVMe SSD on motherboards. In our case, we're using the 2280 hole. So here I'm screwing in a larger screw piece into the board where the SSD is going to lay on top. Then I lined up the drive at a 45-degree angle into the slot, and then I took the smaller screw bit and then I just screwed it down into place. The case that we're going to be building in is the Corsair RGB 220T Airflow. This is a mid-size ATX case that comes with 3 Corsair SP120 RGB fans, of which we did pick up an additional 3 for the top and the back. And it also has a magnetic dust filter on the top, as well as the bottom for the power supply. The front panel can also come off. And behind, there is a mesh panel, which can also come off. So now we're ready to build in the case. So as you can see, I'm taking off the glass panel, as well as the back panel. Now, what's going to be supplying the juice to our system is the Corsair TX 750M. This is an 80 plus gold semi-modular 750 watt power supply.
We're going to use that to fixate the modular cable to the casing. We're going to put these little screws, 4 screws to hold up the power supply.
After that, we are then going to install the I/O shield at the back of the case. I'm trying to see my notes. There we go. Once it is installed, we then are going to place the motherboard into the case. We're going to line up the ports with the I/O shield. And we're going to push it in. And then we have to make sure the motherboard is lined up with the standoffs, which are pre-installed in our case. No pun intended. And as you can see, I started screwing the motherboard down. Finally, when the motherboard is in place, I then plugged in the front panel connectors, which includes the USB 3 plug, the front panel audio, as well as the power and reset switches. Other than installing the graphics card, the last thing we have to do is install the 3 Corsair SP120 RGB Pros that I've picked up for 70 Canadian dollars. Now the case already comes with 3 of them at the front, but I picked up an additional 3 for the top and the back. Now last but definitely not least, the graphics card that we're going to be using in this build is the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060Ti XC from EVGA. More packaging. Nice neat cutting job. Damn, the packaging is so nice in this. There it was. Now, while unboxing this, I was surprised as to how short this card was, because I know that usually higher end cards are longer and they do have like 3 fans. But as you can tell, this is one of the less flashier cards. However, it's still a great card, and I also did get lucky getting one, as well as for a good price of 569 Canadian dollars. So to install a graphics card, we have to remove the second and third slot holder. Here. And after that, I then line up the graphics card with them and pushed it into the PCI slot on the motherboard.
There you go.
So to power our graphics card, we need an 8-pin connection. So as you can see, I pieced together the 2-pin and the 6-pin together to create an 8-pin and plugged it into the slot on our graphics card. Nice. There we go. Graphics card installed. And after the graphics card, that's it. So next we put on all the panels, including the side back panel, the front piece, as well as the side glass panel. So with the PC all built up, we only have one thing left to do, other than install drivers and Windows. But like the cool thing, the first power up. 1, 2, 3. And the RGB blows with all that RGB action. Oh yeah, now it's time for the most satisfying part of any PC build. The satisfying peel. Let's just pretend that happened. Let's try to restart that. Oop. Well, I mean, like, the people on YouTube are professional. They make this look way easier than it actually is, but you gotta peel. So with that, we've built our $1,700 Canadian PC. Now, I'm gonna have to say, I'm pretty impressed the way the PC came out. Keep in mind, this is my first build, and for example, the cable management is pretty decent. And most importantly, the RGB looks pretty sick. Alright, so the PC is here. We got it all set up in our our PC area, center, office thingy. This is an old monitor, and I know probably some of you guys are gonna be like, why the hell would you buy a 3060 Ti with a monitor from like 2007? Well, that's because this is an old temporary monitor. We have a new one coming in here soon, so do not worry. We got a high refresher monitor coming soon, so yeah, right now I'm just gonna turn this on, and let's see if it'll post. Come on, first try. Oh. Post for us. Hey! So as you can see here, we got our motherboard showing up. Our Ryzen 5600X 6-core processor. We got our memory. I see how it's running at 2666. We will have to go into BIOS and enable XMP to let it run at the desired speed of 3600 megahertz. Click F1 to run setup. I guess we're gonna do that. F1. And as you can see here, we have reached the BIOS. So basically, right now, I have here a flash drive with Windows 10 downloaded on it. So basically, that's kind of a boot from this. So it has successfully booted from our flash drive. We have Windows 10 on our flash drive. Later on, we can always just register it online with a digital license. And after Windows is installed, we're gonna head on the internet and download all of our drivers. So yeah. So now we have a fully functioning gaming PC. I downloaded all the drivers for the motherboard, the graphics card, you know, the chipset and everything. I'm using the Corsair iCUE software to control the RGB of the RAM and the fans. So that's just like a pattern, like I preset it already. As you can see, the RAM looks pretty nice. You can't really see it on camera, it doesn't really look as great as it does in real life. But in the iCUE software, you can customize the lights, you know, set your own patterns, you know, make your own presets. It's pretty sick. So I'm not fully done the setup yet, but I got a webcam, a nice Logitech Full HD webcam, and I also got a monitor. I forgot the specific model of it, but I did get a monitor. It's a Scepter 27-inch curved 185 hertz Full HD monitor. You know, it looks really nice. You know, I could play my games, everything. I play Fortnite on epic settings, and I just lock it at like 200 FPS. It does go above that because thanks to our graphics card. I did not enable ray tracing, but ray tracing does kind of kill your FPS, and to me, it's not really worth it, but I always have the choice of turning it on. So yeah, but it runs really great, like I said, and yeah. That pretty much wraps up the video. So thank you all for tagging along with me as I built this PC. You know, it was a pretty... Thank you all for tagging along with me as I built this PC. It was a pretty fun ride, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like down below, and also subscribe for more content from me. And please, guys, feel free to comment if you have any questions or comments on the build or anything. Just please ask me a question, anything, I will respond to you. So, like I said, this is my first PC build, and who knows, it may be the first of many. And last but definitely not least, I would like to thank my dad, because none of this would have been possible without him. So, thank you, Dad. So yeah, as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.